dispelled. I'm right with that, man. Let all pain and suffering be dispelled. Hello and good evening or good morning wherever you are. Welcome to the satsang, this last and this final series of supersonic, supercharged, magic yourself right up satsangs. And if you've not been before, welcome. And if you've been before, welcome. Satsang, as if you've been before you'll know, means to sit together in truth, in authenticity, without the usual bravado and need to impress, and the subterfuge and the pretense that we generally are required to deploy in our transactions with the world about us. But because we have no need for personality as we sit here in the ether together, all the way around the planet, we can be in our authenticity, just in the pureness of the consciousness that informs us. And in coming together to do this, we generate some kind of synergy which is ineffable and inexplicable, but which will or does fuel the so-called magical process for all of us. And I say so-called because magic, really, everything is magic. You're magic, I'm magic, we're all magic. This is magic, the technology is magic. The fact of our existence is magic. It's a trick of the light, a miracle. That's literally what miracle means, a trick of the light. The one presence, the Tao. You don't have to call it the Tao. I just got used to calling it the Tao. It's the old Chinese word for it. You can call it anything you like. It's just a name for something that cannot actually be named or defined. Sits forever, from the beginning of time to the end of time and beyond in either direction, throughout space and throughout the multiverse, just being. And it is and encompasses the entire multiverse within it, and all the different manifest aspects of the multiverse, including you and I, at all the levels of our own personal existences, are expressions of it. And on the human level, the Tao is manifesting itself. This one presence is manifesting itself with more than 7 billion faces, with 7 billion stories, 7 billion perspectives, 7 billion personal universes, and it can experience itself and does experience itself through each and every one of us. And of course, the more we each elect to wake up to the reality that we are expressions of the Tao rather than these autonomous personalities with bodies that we think we are, the more it can enjoy itself in us. And that's why it seems, although no one can know for sure, why we're required and are being encouraged progressively more and more to open up to this reality. And it's this is the purpose of the satsang. It's for us to together experience ourselves while each other is bearing witness to us doing so, as this expression of the ineffable Tao. Now, the preceding 5 of this series have been focused on your own personal adventure and the qualities required to make your own personal adventure be to optimize it in every way. And this one, though, is for our human family at large. The reason I say magic is, and the reason we theme the satsangs at all, is because you've got to talk about something, especially when it's sort of guided meditation, as opposed to sitting in silence, which might be more conventional if we were sitting together in real life, in flesh. And the idea of magic, doing magic together, is exciting, so it's a bit of a hook for all of us to come together. But the real value, the real purpose, the real nub of it is that we are together, that we come together. So it's my intention with my heart, with my love, to encompass everybody in this circle right now so that we start to feel together. And you can help that along by starting to somehow tune into the idea that there are 200 or so people with you here, all the way around the planet in every different time zone. And with the intention, the joint intention of generating, triggering a quantum shift to magic your global influence right up, meaning to generate a quantum jump in the benign influence you exert on the world. I guess in a way what follows will partly comprise my own contribution to the conversation about the about revolution, the call to revolution, stoked up this week by the beloved genius comedian messiah Russell Brand, and for me as well, in conversations with various rather clued in people that I've been talking to on the so-called streets, the street level. So in terms of our relationship with our human family, each of us operate simultaneously at two distinct and sometimes apparently irreconcilable levels. On the one hand, you have the microcosmic self-centered mode, which is concerned with earning a living, staying afloat, and fulfilling your personal ambitions, the fulfillment of which will likely add to the plundering of vital resources currently leading to our extinction. And on the other hand, there's the altruistic, collectivistic mode, concerned with humanity maintaining sustainable equilibrium and a healthy, viable relationship with itself, as well as with the planet upon which it lives and depends for its survival, so that the evolutionary experiment that we're all part of can continue. Now, it's obvious that other than in extremely rare cases of authentic saintliness, the self-centered mode can't or won't be ignored or sacrificed for the greater good, but has to be addressed to ensure personal survival, and aside from and before the practical factors involved, as in being responsible, doing a job, paying the bills, and so on, begins with adjusting your existential stance so that you stand in good relation to the inner source of all being, the Tao, the prime force of existence, that also informs the core of all of us and everything. Learning to lean into the Tao as if you're leaning into your fairy godmother. You notice that it provides for you one way or the other and points you in the direction that will have you most well disposed to receive and benefit from its providence. And you find that it rolls smoother if you're kind and thoughtful and caring to those around you, if only because while it's the Tao that provides, deliveries come through the people in your lives who are coming into your lives, and people are generally more kindly and well disposed towards you when you're kindly and well disposed towards them. This isn't to say, however, that people don't do awfully well by being scary, nasty, and unkind towards others. To the contrary, on the surface, these people often appear to do even better. But doing awfully well like that tends to produce an awful experience of emptiness and brokenness inside that no amount of wealth or status could ever mend. But assuming we're attending to personal survival and the process of fulfilling ambitions in a relatively sufficiently balanced and effective way to at least be here together tonight, or today, or whatever it is time you're in, to discuss it in the first place, it's equally imperative to attend to the macrocosmic position. For what I'm thinking, for though it may seem as individuals we're fairly powerless or impotent to instigate transformation of global society, we each already have far more influence on a subtle level than we realize. And some of us, through whatever mysterious complex of factors, have actual moments of being granted a loud enough voice to poke through the subtle level and directly, overtly affect the world. But even that, just as the fulfillment of personal ambitions, is a process initiated within at the level of ideas originally, attaining to a loud voice that might benignly transform the world is also a process initiated within. It comes from the Tao, in other words, but requires a nod from you to instigate the process if that's what you want. Though most of us, most of the time, want to live quietly and influence things discreetly. And when we're talking about developing and exerting influence in a global sense, we're talking about, I think, wanting to tip the balance in the underlying drivers of human affairs so that the wisdom of a long-term, all-inclusive, humanity-supporting view prevails over the greed, the stupidity, and the short-term view that would have us use up all our vital resources and hence all die off in a relative jiffy. So there's growing conversation about revolution on the streets, people wanting to overthrow the current order. This is understandable and will occur whenever the disparity grows great enough between those who have and those who don't, or those who perceive they don't, because in actuality, really it's between those who have super wealth and those who just appear to subsist or feel that they're just subsisting, albeit in many cases, and in the Western world, I say possibly most cases, at a far better level than any previously known subsistence levels. So really, in a way, it's more of a perceptual issue, perceiving oneself to be missing out or losing out. And if enough people feel that way and then somebody ignites them with enough effectiveness, you have a kind of a movement of some sort, emotively driven movement. But for me, I can't speak for anybody else, stirring the mob to revolt, while exciting and definitely attention-grabbing, is always dangerous. If you look at the effects of Iran's revolution, for instance, and how Iran is now post-revolution, has been since the late 70s when it occurred. I mean, a comparatively, I don't know how you say, but I've not been there myself, but I have a lot of Iranian friends, and what it sounds like, the difference between the potential there before and how it is now is quite remarkable. You take the Chinese or Russian revolutions for that matter. I mean, generally they consist of loads of bloodshed, followed by those who shouted loudest about the injustice and unfairness, taking the place of those they criticise, and generally acting out in a far more unjust and unfair way themselves. It's like Animal Farm that George Orwell wrote. And eventually, everything settles back into the state it was previously, but with a different costume. I mean, communist China, for instance, is now, to all intents and purposes, a fully capitalist country, every bit as corrupt as it was before Mao came along. As a martial artist myself, it's in my training to defuse fights, indeed to help promote a peaceable enough environment to preclude the need for fighting in the first place. And that revolution means fighting. Revolution is fighting. Evolution, on the other hand, is healing and ultimately what sustains us. We might not be able to avoid revolution at all. It might just be what destiny has in store. And we might not ever enjoy the luxury of the smoother evolutionary process. Sometimes things are just too stuck out in one direction to move without force. But I, for one, definitely vote for patience and peaceful evolution in arriving at some sort of resolution of our global affairs that will ensure our ongoing survival as a species. It comes down, I think, to wanting life in the world to be more fun for everyone. Really is that, as far as I see it, wanting life to be more fun for everyone. I don't mean in a dark, trivial, X-Factor, funfair, dizzy, whoop and holler kind of way, though that has its place, of course. But fun in the sense of enjoying each other's company and presence, enjoying our own company and presence, and enjoying the process that occurs as these two relationships, the one, the self with others, and the other, the self with the self, interact and play on each other. And this enjoyment derives from an underlying delight in simply being alive, and somehow wanting to share in that with everybody. And this delight in turn derives from being willing to assume and maintain a panoramic perspective, one that reminds you that existence itself is a miracle and the gift of all gifts. And it could end at any moment. So not to waste a second of it lost in lamenting the dearth of any lesser gifts, such as the gifts we mainly spend our energy and attention on, the things of the world of the 10,000 things. It's as I feel we want to see all our human family in a state of health in all senses. We want to see our human family enjoying itself, not at the expense of each other, but for the good of everyone. We want to see the suffering of those going without, those in severe pain, and those who are the victims of cruelty and injustice alleviated. We want everyone in our human family to be glowing from within and shining their inner light brightly for the benefit of everyone. But we also know that nothing manifest exists in the ideal state. Everything manifest is subject to the law of yin and yang, the alternating phases of contraction and expansion, the alternating expressions of dark and light. So the best we can do is to add our intention to the force driving the light, or more precisely, to the nurturing, caring, healing quality at the core of each, the yin and the yang. You can't destroy darkness, you can only add to the light by shining yours and thus inspiring and influencing those around to shine theirs likewise. And if enough of us shine our inner light bright for the good of all, it will vastly overwhelm the darkness, and in the ensuing glow we'll come together far more intelligently and empathically than were we engaged in a fight, a revolution. And in that coming together we will, or can, find a way to keep our experiment afloat, not only for ourselves, of course, but for future generations to enjoy as well. And as for upping your own influence in this respect, or any respect you like, this also starts by referring back to the source within. The whole of humanity, as I was saying before, is only the Tao made manifest as human, with 7 billion different faces. Referring back inwards to the one presence informing all of us, and inserting an intention as you do, is the essence of Taoist magic, in particular when it comes to magicking your global influence right up. And the organ via which this operation is best conducted, inside your body that is your heart, by transmitting and receiving heart juice or love. Firstly, between you and the source, the Tao, as it is in its oneness as your playmate. Then between you and the Tao as it expresses itself as 7 billion incarnations presently on board the spaceship here. Love, however, can only be safely, fully, effectively transmitted and received when the heart energy is grounded and connected to earth plane reality. Not just up in the chest and the head, where things tend towards abstractionism. So first, we're going to focus on grounding the heart energy. Then we're going to do transmit-receive with the Tao as a single unit, as entity. And then we're going to do transmit-receive with the Tao as 7 billion people. And the magical result will be, I posit, on the one hand, watching world events unfold differently and more benignly than hitherto expected, But I do bear in mind that all these magic operations take time to filter through the earth plane reality, which is a lot denser, especially when there are 7 billion people's agendas and energy fields and to go through. And then on the other hand, you'll notice yourself far more influential, even in your local sphere. People will take notice more of what you say, and your actions will have more visible, benign impact on the world around you. Well, that's the proposition, and if it resonates, in fact, even if it doesn't resonate, I'm going to take a sip of orange juice, so just wait there. This is also the moment where we're going to flip modes from the traditional wrap at the start of any satsang, whether we were in India, in an ashram, or here online, and the meditation mode, which is the experiential aspect of it, in which we all join together at the innermost level and make some magic happen. So this one is really powerful as I feel it, because what we're doing is on behalf of our whole human family, and it's a lovely opportunity to take a rest from the habitual egocentric mode that we all fall into so easily, and which we believe somehow is going to make us feel happy, but really generally doesn't. Whereas when we instead devote our energy outwards, as it were, to our human family, the uplift effect is fairly powerful, and in my experience the results of it are also powerful and will act in a compound way on the magic from the 5 previous satsangs, which in a way have a kind of delayed reaction of when you're doing any manifesting operation according to Taoist law, is that's LORE, is there's a delay of 90 days, 90 days to bring whatever you've ordained into fulfillment. And this one coming at the end of this going to act powerful way in all the preceding. So your own personal, local, microcosmic journey will be greatly enhanced. But the real point and purpose of this is to genuinely, from our hearts, give this love that is so needed out to our whole human family at this very point in time, as an offering, a sacrifice, to trigger something quite unprecedented, powerful and healing for everyone, because we need it, and we each will be for sure rewarded by the Tao. But that's not the intention to go in with. It's to expect, yeah, of course, but somehow let the intention be pure. The more pure you can let the intention be now, the more you can altruistically, selflessly give it, the more powerful the effect will be for everyone. And that in itself will be huge enough reward to keep all of us happy for a long time. So begin by shuffling about in your chair. Do recommend sitting relatively upright so that your spine serves as a receiving transmitter aerial thing that connects heaven above with earth below. And get as comfortable as you possibly can now. Of course, know that it's impossible to sit completely still, that we're in motion internally, if not externally, and we must honor that. So allow subtle movement to occur within, certainly the breathing and all the organic functions, but let the movement be round and smooth. Let everything be round and smooth just for the duration of this meditation, especially your breathing. Let your breathing be round and smooth. When you draw the air in, do it in a rounded, soft way. When you expel the air again, Again, do it in a rounded, soft way. And let the air feel smooth and like silk as it passes in and passes out without interruption. If it's comfortable, allow your belly to swell as the air comes in, and then pull the belly back to your spine to push the air out again. And appreciate the air as the elixir of all elixirs, keeping you alive. And the out-breath is releasing the toxins from the past, while the in-breath is introducing fresh energy to create the new. Attend now to the physical posture, the mainframe, the arena, the kind of structure of the arena, by visualizing the crown of your head being suspended and pulled upwards towards the ceiling as if by an invisible silver thread attached to the crown. And get the feeling of this lengthening the back of your neck and exerting a subtle lengthening pull all the way up the spinal column so that your spine feels lighter and longer. Allow your shoulders to drop all the way down and all the way down. And as they drop, let them broaden. Very slightly raise your breastbone. It's a subtle gesture of 0.5 millimeter, but in this 0.5 millimeter you're rising up to all that is beautiful within you, around you. Let your hips spread. Let your sit bones be as far apart from each other as possible. You do this with your mind, of course. And you'll notice now that you've broadened and lengthened, in other words, expanded your physical mainframe, which in turn instantaneously expands, broadens and lengthens and deepens your experience of being you. Now I say deepens to compound this effect. Be aware that you have a choice of either being shoved up quite uncomfortably in the noisy and relatively vulnerable front part of your body, or being sat back comfortably in the rear part of your body, whence you can take command of what goes on in the front. While in the front, exclusively, you've lost your back, you've lost your past, you've lost your connection to all that has gone before and that would otherwise be supporting you. But when you're in your back, you're in command of the front while also being connected to everything that's happened to you in your life, the wealth of your experience which sits behind you and which supports you. And beyond that, the ancestors, your line of ancestors which stretches back through time, at least 1.5 miles, and the combination of which are this sort of ancestral support and the support from your past is providing a buffer energy, a guardian-like energy, which sits all around you, far larger than your own physical form, and protects you. While the front now is relatively quiet. Normally, the front part of your body, when you're shoved up there, is noisy. The solar plexus gets tense from processing all the information and from the resistance you have to that information. The throat closes up, makes it hard to communicate. The heart closes over, makes it hard to care or receive care. And the constant conversation about it all occurs in the front of the brain and makes this distraction, causing you to believe that you are this noise in the front. You are this drama of what's going on inside of you and what appears to be going on outside of you. But come back inside and all of that noise falls away. That illusory constructed self that you normally would assume to be you falls away because it doesn't really exist. When you're in the back, you do exist. What does exist of you is this background presence that has always been here, watching your life unfold, presumably lifetime after lifetime, impartially, just delighted to be here to witness it. So take this opportunity now to enjoy the luxury, and I'd actually say necessity, of dropping back inside, the Taoist backward flowing motion, so that you're now leaning up comfortably, securely and confidently against your own shoulder blades, the front of your spine and the rear pelvic bones and sacrum. That's right, sit right back inside and get really comfortable, just as if you're leaning back into a really well-designed, supportive, comfortable chair. And as you do this, at the same time, make a little gesture of tilting your head back 0.5 millimeter. And in so doing, visualize your mind being required to slide back along the floor of your skull, as if the inside of your skull is a cave with a floor, until it's nestling right up against the rear interior wall of the skull, which is the rear wall of your cave. And your mind is now sitting back there like a little Buddha in the back of the cave, perfectly safe, knowing that the cave is supported by the mountain beneath it, really strong, because your presence is leaning all the way back inside throughout your body. If you haven't done already, let your eyelids lower, close your eyes, and allow yourself, with this really secure feeling, to gaze from the rear of the cave out through the mouth of the cave, which is roughly where the bridge of your nose is, into infinity, with no purpose for doing so other than that it feels perfect. So here you are, just gazing into infinity from the rear of your skull. Your physical presence is leaning right back inside. You're breathing slowly. Your mainframe is expanded. Allow all the muscular tension in your body to dissolve. Just give it the command, say, all the muscular tension in my body, dissolve now. And just with an out-breath, let it all dissolve. And become aware that in the front of your chest there is your breastbone. Imagine the two halves of your breastbone opening like a pair of sliding doors to reveal at the very core of your chest, just in front of your spine, just in front of where you're leaning back into, your beautiful, beautiful heart center. So we're talking more of the spiritual heart than the physical organ itself. The essence of who you are, the true beauty of who you are, the unique gorgeousness of you, your soul, expressed, if you like, as a beautiful flower, a rose, gold, rose-colored, emanating an ethereal, beautiful rose gold light and fragrance, sweet, gorgeous fragrance that represent your love, your heart juice. And imagine that you're now breathing in and breathing out directly through this organ, this spiritual heart. So you're drawing the breath in through the center of the chest and then breathing it out from there through the center of the chest. And just let this happen a little bit, all the while leaning back inside, deep inside, breathing in and breathing out. And you notice that your heart center starts to subtly tingle, a sensation of energy radiating. And be aware that as you do, you're communing or sitting in the presence of the ineffable being, the primary being of existence, Tao. And if it has a face, it's your face, strangely. Although it's not a person, it's a presence. And it's ubiquitous, it is everywhere, throughout time and space. And it's unformed, it just generates. and it has manifested itself as you, and it loves you as its manifestation, as it loves itself. And as you breathe in and breathe out, you're communing with this presence. So as you breathe out, the Tao is breathing in, and that's what's causing you to breathe out. It's sucking the air from you. And as you breathe in, the Tao is breathing out, and that's what's causing you to breathe in. The Tao is blowing the life force into you. So as the Tao breathes in, you're naturally breathing out, and as the Tao breathes out, you're naturally breathing in. And the Tao needs you, needs us, to command it, to direct it, believe it or not. In this instance, it is asking us to direct it towards a vision, a new vision for humanity, for our human family. Now, when the vision is in accord with the, shall we call it, the highest good, it resonates with the Tao. And in that resonance, the miracle is instigated. So as we breathe in and breathe out, as the Tao breathes out and breathes in respectively, we're doing this together, and we're drawing the power of the love of the Tao into us with each in-breath as it breathes out into us. And we're breathing our love collectively and individually back to the Tao, which makes the Tao feel very happy, of course, just as it makes us feel happy. Happy, delighted in the deepest sense. And in this process of breathing in and breathing out, somehow let's share a vision, each in our own way and our own style, our own angles and lighting, lenses and so on, of the world of humanity as we would love it to be, without wishing to put ideas in your mind, but just along general sorts of guidelines as where wisdom is the prevailing force, a wisdom that arises from 7 billion loving hearts and arises from the empathy that would be and could be and hopefully will be when everybody understands that what we are is this, and therefore the joy that comes from the Tao recognizing the Tao in each other. And from this empathy, this joy, this wisdom, arises a collective atmosphere where there's a propensity towards intelligent, sensible conversation, focus on important, significant aspects of life at the levels where it's being driven from, rather than messing about on the surface of it all. It's a really intelligent intervention into the mechanics of human life for the highest good of everyone, that will somehow even out the disparity between various parts of the world, between various strata of society everywhere, where fear of each other and fear of being taken advantage of and misled and lied to decreases significantly, where trust increases significantly. And in this milieu that we're able to effectively, with our combined incredible intelligence, negotiate our way through this incredibly critical and challenging passage that we're currently in. And that with this occurring also comes a greater authenticity, a willingness to be authentic and to show our authentic selves to each other. And from that, the shared joy that happens when we celebrate being alive together, no longer nearly as concerned with competing or impressing, now much more concerned with collaborating and nurturing. A family that loves and supports its members. And however that sort of vision occurs to you, as we breathe in and we breathe out, each of us communing directly this way with our Tao, we're informing the Tao with this intention. In another idiom, you might call it praying together. And breathing in and breathing out from our heart into the heart of the Tao and vice versa. You can feel the Tao itself somehow tingling in the heart center just like we are. This whole unit is now breathing as one. And now, carrying on breathing in and out through the heart center with agility of mind, with great nimbleness of thought, allow yourself to appreciate now the Tao as manifest in 7 billion plus humans on the planet. A fly has just buzzed past me, so let's also include all the near infinite number of other life forms presently sharing the planet with us. See the Tao as now also this presence that informs all sentient beings on the planet. And so now as you're breathing in the love that's coming from the Tao via all 7 billion versions of it and all the rest of the creatures as well. So the Tao is now breathing out through everyone, through all sentient beings, into you, and you're breathing in. And now you're breathing out with your love to the Tao as these 7 billion people and then all other sentient beings. So you're breathing in the love of all sentient beings now. As you inhale and as you exhale, you're breathing your love combined with all of that out to 7 billion people and all sentient beings. And because you're grounded, because you're sitting well back inside, it's not overwhelming, it's powerful. And you can accommodate the power of it easily. And know that as you breathe in the love of all sentient beings, and then breathe out your love to all sentient beings, all your needs to sustain you as an individual will be met, will be provided for. And the more each of us right now relaxes and trusts and takes this rare opportunity to let go of that survival fear just for a moment and devote all our attention to breathing the love out into the collective, and then breathing the collective's love into us. And in this breathing process, purifying and refining the collective energy. And you can't actually really exert a more profound influence, more profound global influence than that you're exerting right now. And you just have to continue to breathe in and breathe out and allow yourself to be filled, every cell of your body, with the love of all the human family and all sentient beings. And then as you breathe out, you're feeding the entirety of the human family and all sentient beings. And let's just sit in silence with this breathing. together just for a few moments all the way around the world. And may all pain and suffering be dissolved. Now breathe in and visualize the breath traveling in a fine stream of light up the rear of your spine to the crown of your head. And then breathe out and visualize the breath traveling down the front of the spine, back down to between your legs in a fine stream of light. So you're breathing light up the rear of the spine, breathing light down the front of the spine. A really fine laser-like beam. And as the light travels up the rear of the spine, it's refining your essence. And as it travels down the front of the spine, it's purifying your essence. And you're well in the back of yourself, so you feel perfectly calm and strong, and silent, and powerful, and eternal. And now, from the back of you, imagining now that because we've gone into our backs, we've gone so into our backs, we've become huge, these huge presences, that we're too big in this sense to sit in the usual human dimension. So we've now popped back into a different dimension and find ourselves sitting like a circle of large angelic presences around the planet Earth. And combined, we have this amazing love between us that we've all just been healed by. And as we breathe in and breathe out, let's collectively allow this love to envelop the planet in our midst. So we are now the angels that are healing the planet and all its inhabitants. And as you breathe in and breathe out, we do so collectively. We're transmitting the universal love we've just been channeling to all sentient beings on the planet right now. And it's causing the entire surface of the globe to subtly, discreetly light up. And see your own local self down there on the planet, the tiny you, the one you usually think is you, sitting in a meditation position. And bless it. As the angel, bless that local self of yours for all its travails, all its hardships and all its challenges. Bless it. Feel the compassion for it. Heal it. Send a healing to your local self. Let every cell in its body be renewed, and let every aspect of its life and affairs be renewed, and that all that was lost to it be restored, all that was broken be repaired, all that was taken be returned, so that it is complete and feels it, and in the coming days and weeks, that your local self will experience a run of the most unexpected and beautiful, beautiful surprises, wonderful opportunities, synchronicities, and serendipities that occur at every turn. Now come into your local self, be fully in your physical body, leaning right back inside, and feel yourself receive the healing that was just sent by the angels. Feel it. Feel as if you've just had a big, deep, profound healing session. And as you feel this, be aware that you're not alone. That 7 billion people around the planet with you, not to mention all other sentient beings, have just received this healing with you. This mass healing has occurred. And it was all because of your global influence. And with that remarkable notion in mind, this could be the time, if you want to open your eyes So I'm going to hand over to Sue to open up the question and answer session. Sue, come back to Earth. Oh, what? Gosh, what if I got you all out into the other dimension and no one got back? And I'm the only one.
Hi Stephen, can you hear me?
Hi. I can. You're back. That's good.
Yeah, sorry, I've had a problem with my cable today.
With your dimensions.
Yes, indeed. Apologies everyone, I wasn't in space, I was here. Okay, well, hello everyone, and we've got some questions pre-submitted, so I'll start with this one from Elizabeth. I'm scared of influencing too much. Who am I to be so important? Please reassure me that I may be influential.
You may be influential. That's it.
Okay. If you have a question and haven't already put it in the question box, please do type it in and I can read it out for you. Or if you would prefer to speak live on air with Doc, please raise your hand by clicking the blue circle with the yellow hand and the green arrow. And I will open up the lines and you can speak live with Stephen. Meanwhile, we've got a question from Mike. Hi Doc, how can we influence the world to want to share more, such as with food? Many people starve while some overeat.
Hi Mike. Yeah, I think, I don't know how we can influence people to want things. Advertisers are good at it, of course. I think the pure form is what we're doing here. It's like if we each set the example by wanting to share ourselves. In other words, I think it's in little things. I mean, other just taking it out of the food context, but any context, the sense of when walking around in somebody else's place, for example, and you see a bit of paper that's fallen on the floor, but it's not your place, so you leave it there. Instead, to think, oh, that would be helpful if I pick that up for them, so you do, and so on and so forth. That kind of helping wherever you can. The amount of people that most days you'll probably encounter will be a fair amount, and out of those, if you are displaying tendencies to be helpful, even if it's just helpful in terms of smiling at somebody, that influences. It seems like very small, but as we know, these things spread like viruses, and it's amazing how much effect we do have on each other during the course of a day. I don't know, I was this time last week, or just a bit earlier than this, on the last Saturday I've driven from Urbino on the east side of Italy all the way over the Apennines to Rome on the west side, which is it's not that far, it's just probably about 200 miles, but it's a windy, bendy road over the mountains, so it takes about 5 hours, and then I got on a flight. Rome Airport's one of the messiest there is. It takes ages to get anywhere, so that was a bit of an ordeal, a challenge. Cramped little flight, get out, London Airport, Gatwick, get in the car, that will take a while, and drive, just driving through the, 3-4 hours to get to Cardiff, because, wanting to stop a few times and that. Get to sort of 3/4 of the way there, and there's a service station, and it's 3:30 in the morning. I pull in, and amazingly, the main place was open, and the coffee place was open, because that's what I wanted. I wanted a proper good caffeine hit just to keep me going that last hour or so. And the guy was there with the place open at 3:30 in the morning. I know it probably sounds like so what, but this is like right in the middle of nowhere. And years ago, not even that long ago, that place wouldn't have been open. There might have been one of those shitty machines in the petrol station bit, but it would be unusual to get a really nice. And I saw the guy, and I knew straight away, because I've done a bit of work in prisons, that this guy was an ex-convict. I just knew that, and I could see he was a bit of a disturbed guy, like a bit nervous and neurotic and whatever. And it was late at night, and I really felt for him. What a thing to have to do for your job. Now, it could have been just me playing the role of a customer, leaving him in the role of the guy behind the coffee bar thing. But instead, I wanted to connect with him and serve him. I wanted to serve the Tao in him. I wanted to spread the kind of wellness that I felt inside, albeit it was 3:30 in the morning. And I said to him, just as he gave me the coffee, I said, hey, you're doing a great thing for mankind. I said mankind because it was just me and him in there. He said, what? I said, man, staying up this late to work, to serve people coffee, that's good. I said, it wasn't like this years ago, eh? And he goes, no. And so we had that connection. I made him smile. And in that smile, he lit up and his face changed colour. It got warmer. And, that was the service. Now, that might influence him to do something like that with somebody else in a similar or equivalent situation. I think that's the best we can really, really hope to do. Other than when the Tao gives us little kind of jobs to do, maybe write something, say something, do something on the radio, whatever it is, when these things present themselves. Yeah, but otherwise it's just like what we give to each other as we go along. That's how we influence, I think. Okay, Sue?
Okay. Victoria has said, thank you, utterly, utterly beautiful, profoundly moving, coughed halfway through the love send, felt myself disappear and pop out back, seem to be back now, who knows. Deep thanks for magicking us and our human family together in love.
Oh, that's lovely of you to say, Victoria. Bless you. I did feel really transported by this right from the beginning. In fact, I was finding it quite hard to get my words out, as if this presence was pushing itself into me and through me, that didn't want my usual personality in the way. So it was quite hard to, it still is actually, to get the words out in a straight line. It was really powerful, this one. I felt it as well. Moved me. Thank you for saying.
Sieglinde is asking, do you have any advice regarding a friend of my son who hears voices in his head telling him how stupid he is and things like that, and also banging noises? He has just opened up about this to my son. He's had it for a long time, hence not being able to finish college, jobs. The voice, noises, have you come across something like this, and what sort of method might help?
Yeah, of course I've come across it. I mean, it's actually very common, I've worked with a lot of people with this. It's actually one of my specialities, teaching people how to supplement the destructive inner voices with constructive ones. And I could just tell you now, if they want to get in touch with me for sessions on that, I'd be up for discussing the possibility of it. That would be my first piece of advice. Secondly, as a blanket, kind of all-purpose thing for everybody, really, this is a good one. To spend 5 minutes a week, or if you can do it every day, even better, when you're on your own, of course, just talking out loud to yourself, and you're only allowed to say kind things, and you do it in the second person. So I would go, hey man, you just done an amazing thing there. Yeah, that's satsang, that was really good. Just wait for a moment, just sit with that. This is, I'm talking like after this I might do it. Just sit with that for a minute. Let that sit in you. You've done a great thing. No, you really have. That was beautiful. Well done, you. That kind of thing. And or you've just done a really great day's work. Or you're a really kind person. You are. You're really lovely. Yeah, you're a beautiful soul. And you just repeat these really lovely, kind things you say. And every time your mind argues back with like, oh, I'm not really kind. Blah, 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 you say, no, you listen to me. You are. You're kind. So you give yourself a completely positive coaching session for 3, 4, 5 minutes. Once a day, once a week. The more you do it, the faster it will work. And what happens is that voice you've externalized becomes the loudest voice internally as well, and then overshadows the negative voice when it arises. But that's just part of it. When that hearing voices is a real problem, you do need to have some professional help. And there are many therapists who I think who do deal with this, but if he wants to, he could feel welcome to get in touch with me, and we could at least discuss the possibility of doing a session or 2 or 3 together. And as I'm sure I could be of help to. All right, one more question, Sue, if there are any.
There are no more, but we have
Perfect.
several comments for you before you go.
Oh, go on, read them out.
Malkit's saying she found this to be the most powerful. I'm assuming she means the satsang, the most powerful. Thank you and bless you.
Bless you too.
Teresa said, lovely, lovely magic series, Steph. Thank you and everyone else for the beautiful magic energy created.
Yes, quite right. Here, here. Thank you, everybody. And Teresa, that's lovely of you to say. I'm glad you found it powerful. Me too.
And Marina's saying thank you for your influence in each other's lives.
Oh, bless you. Thank you too.
And Caroline says, these satsangs really rock my world. Thank you.
Oh, it's wonderful. Thank you. Yeah. And yeah, it's just really exciting and people are finding them so helpful. I love it. I really do. I could do this pretty much all the time, except I think I might go a bit insane if I did, or become not insane, which might be a bit weird for me because I'm so used to being insane. But anyway, like, really beautiful. Thank you for being here, truly. Thank you for giving me the privilege of hosting it and facilitating it. And I do believe that this one we've done tonight will have a profound effect for all of us. Okay, bless you, thank you. Bye.
Let all pain and suffering